Okay, so I'm going to go over a few things that I've done already. I have a multimeter. I'm using an old analog type multimeter. This is left to me by my dad. I think this is an old Sears. It's really cool old unit. I've got a couple of digital, and I'll get those out too. But at the moment, I'm using this one. It does everything I want to do. Only thing is, you got to know how to read it and how to use it. A lot of people nowadays, they don't know how to set these things or even how to read them. So, but if you're this far into the video, you're willing to give it a shot, doing some testing, looking at some things. There's some things that are common. One would be a door switch. If the fan motor's not coming on, the unit's not running, could always be a door switch that isn't shutting all the way, isn't making contact completely. Now what I've done here, I've bypassed the door switch completely because I had the panel off and somebody broke the actual door switch, so I'll get one today or tomorrow, but in the meantime I have it actually just bypassed it. So quick things that you would look at would be your high limit switch, which is what that is. That's what the high limit switches look like. They all pretty much look like that, and if you Google a high limit switch, you will see various other ones. There's a few other types, but they all look like that, and pretty much all safety switches look similar to that. Or you see me, my finger is going to that. Now this is a reset. You can reset this one by pushing this red button down. Now I have checked these both ways. I have checked the voltage across these things because they should have voltage across them, and I have checked the resistance with an ohm meter, and they all check out. Now I have also checked the high limit switch. It checks out with checking the resistance on it. It checks out, but it doesn't have voltage. So now I know, watching this video, my point is for you to just check out a few things and see if you can fix your furnace. So that would be one thing. Checking your door switch would be another, and checking these flame rollout safety switches. Now that would be these. You see where they're located? They're located near the where the flame would be. And what they do, they trip if flame is rolling out where it's not supposed to be. So if they're getting heat that they're not supposed to be getting, then they pop out. And so you can check those very easily, and you could just reset them and try to start your system again. Or you could check to see if you have voltage on those. Should have voltage anytime the system is on. Anytime the system's on, you should have voltage across that switch. Should have voltage across all of them. But I do not. I don't have voltage on my high limit switch. I do have voltage across these, and I don't have voltage across this switch down here. So, but for people watching my video, check these switches. Make sure they're reset if they're resettable. Check that one, make sure that it has voltage across it if your system is on, and you can turn your system off. take the screws out, pull it out, and check the resistance across the switch. And if it's good, you probably have a good switch. I don't know why I don't have voltage. I'm thinking it must be on this board. Now, people that are just getting into looking at a system like this, generally you will have a board that looks similar to this. It's a circuit board. Now, this is a fairly older unit. I think this is a 97 or 98 model, but these are very common. Here's a transformer. You can check your transformer. Make sure you have 120, 110 on one side and 24 across the other side. Now you can check on your circuit board. You can check your blue and your red over here to make sure that you're getting your 24 volts to the circuit board. And you have an indicator light. Now, you see the indicator light, the red indicator light? It will tell you errors. It will tell you the last code that was on this system. Now, this one, I believe if you press and hold more than 2 seconds, my job during the day is raising twin girls, in case you haven't watched the channel. So you hear the girls upstairs, and I actually have a video feed. I'm watching them and seeing what they're doing. But it sounds like I need to go check anyway. So let me go check on them. Okay, so I hope with the 2 or 3 cameras that I'm using, I'm getting you some type of a view. So, going through my system, I'll show you a startup. So my system is on. Right now it's not flashing a code. Lately it has been flashing 4, and usually a 4 with nearly all systems out there today. Flashing a 4 means open high limit. So it means there's one of these high limit switches is open, which means it's not completing the circuit and letting the startup. It's not letting the startup circuit run its course. So let's see if I can. Let me set you down for a minute. Here we are, calling for heat. Starting to flash the code now. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 4 code, 4 flashing. And so it did its start up. It cleared the system out. And in no point did it call for voltage across the igniters or even across the high limit switch. So it has to be down here somewhere. So I'm going to do some more research and see what I can look into next. Before I brought you along, I had already used the meter and checked everything out that I knew of. I checked the transformer, and I checked the low voltage control devices. Everything checked out. I have checked the voltages across the igniter. It doesn't matter, there's nothing there. So nothing gets up here. So let me do a little bit more research and I'll bring you back. I'm going to give it a little bit in case the timers have been set off, but it blew out a lot of stuff up here. But that's not an obstruction. It's just dirt, but it did blow out a lot of stuff. I see no kind of obstruction. The fan is running properly. It's blowing pretty good. So that's blowing the exhaust out. So yeah. Only thing I can think is that switch might be bad. Seems like you could bypass it some way though. So give it a few more seconds to see if it's going to cycle through. And then I'm going to go up and take a look at the chimney cap. But it should come on now. If that was a problem, it should come on now. So we're still getting number 3. Pressure switch stuck open. Now, I suppose this could also be a pressure switch down here. Yeah, I don't know where this is at in the circuit. I don't see where this comes in on the circuit. Up. Everything's recording. I got all the cameras recording. I hope all of the mics pick up. I have 3 cameras. 2 of them are pretty high tech. I have 2 wireless mics, and never fails, something will happen. I won't have audio. So I know it's a didn't think about that. I know it's strange looking. I have reset the shot. It looks very different from where you were when we left. I brought down some of my studio lights to light the area so that we can have more light and try to capture this thing and record it. The last you saw, I was still hunting down issues on the unit. Well, I knew that my board was cracked. I knew that the board was cracked for years. So I decided to go ahead and get the board taken care of. Now, it had a bad solder. I'm terrible at soldering, and I couldn't find my good solder gun, so I had a very blunt solder. So I had a feeling that there were going to be cracked joints on the solder, and I took the board loose from inside here. These black plastic retainers. That's what holds your board into place without it grounding against any metal. And so I took that off, and once I got the board off, you can see I had 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3, 12. I had 13 complete breaks in the solder. 13 of the solder joints were bad. So I did my best soldering job. All I could do was fail. It was broken anyway, so all I could do was fix it or not. So, and I apologize for the kind of weird clothing that I have on. I told you my job during the day is and night is taking care of babies, and so it is middle of the night, early morning, whichever one you want to call that. And here I am. So as far as I can tell from the pictures, it would be down here with this yellow. And it sounds like I have a baby awake upstairs. I have a camera on them, but I can't see it at this point. But I do hear pitter patter of hands and knees hitting. Yeah. So once again, I'm gonna have to leave and go up and look at that. But to have that in place, and it looks like I have almost the entire thing back where it goes. So I'm going to see if I can get these black clips to take. And that's just the mounting surface. It's right in the way, and I'm messing up your camera shot. See if that magnet will help. Let's see if we can get this one back in there, maybe. Yeah, there we go. We got this one. It's all mounted up. Looks like we have everything where it needs to go. I'm going to I feel good about that. There's only one question that could be a question, is that red and the other red. It could have been swapped. Hope that's not an issue. But that could be an issue. If it doesn't work, I could always swap that. I do feel like the solder joints are fixed. I hope it didn't hope the board didn't get too hot and melt through the circuits. But you know, I have no way of knowing that, and I hope the solder joints are not so big that they short out. So I have no way of knowing that, but I'm going to double check everything. everything looks kind of, you know, I don't see anything that's off. Orange, black, and blue on the bottom. Yes, that's correct. All right. So we're just one wire that we're not sure of. So I'm going to turn the power, the main power on to the unit. And we have power. It's steady power. Right now we're not flashing the code. I've reset all of the manual flame rollouts. So if we have good control over this unit, but it still won't light, that's at least a step in the right direction, because I wasn't even able to get constant power before. So that would at least be a step in the right direction. That would be steady power to the unit. And that also allows me a better environment to work on the unit, because the unit is not constantly cutting out because of the short on the circuit board. So I'm going to go up and check the children, and while I'm up there, check the thermostat. Okay, our thermostat seems to be correct. Everything up there is working. Go. Took an awful long time to get the switch. That was very odd. The induction motor is running. Flame should be on by now, or blinking a code now. Induction motor seems to be running longer than it did before, much longer. We're blinking a code of 3 now. We do not have a flame startup. The number 3 code. Let's see what that is. The induction motor is still running, which I find odd. Never ran that long before. Okay, it says number 3, pressure switch stuck open. Now would be this. It says pressure switch stuck open. cause that motor to continuously run. And I would tell you that motor is running totally different than yesterday. I'll pull up yesterday's video, give you a shot of it. You'll hear that thing even sounds different. It's running at a much higher RPM. It's running much smoother. So evidently that crack was not letting it get good contact on the circuit board. So I'm going to stop the unit and see if it stops. Set the temperature down to 66. It calls for heat at 68. The induction motor did turn off. Now here's the thing. The main blower didn't come on this time. Now that always came on before. Let's see if I can turn the fan on manually. Yes, the fan runs manually. That is a good sign. I was worried that we had something wrong with the fan motor. Still could, but we are heading in the right direction. The fan motor's running. I guess the fan motor needs a message from the induction motor before it can start. So the switch there is the problem. So I'm going to stop the fan. And it's really good that I'm able to control this with my phone, because that means some things are working correctly. Seems like it is running absolutely better than it was, and I believe that we are heading in the right direction with that. It didn't run that smooth or fast before, so that tells me it wasn't getting the correct voltage. So you may have been getting the correct voltage, not the correct amperage actually, if it had a crack. So it's flashing the pressure switch now, and that is this device here. The cameras are picking it up. I'm going to see if I can jump that. If I can bypass that, possibly. I don't know if that's possible. I'm hoping that I can bypass this thing. It says it's stuck open. So seems like if I bypass this thing with a wire, that it would close it, because it would be, I know that's real janky there, but it's not permanent or anything. So we're going to once again stop the DJI camera. I hate doing that, but I don't know another way of it won't let me out. Don't like the fact that the DJI camera takes over control of the phone completely. Should be able to go out of the system. Okay, so we're all buttoned up here. I'm going to open it up here and show you that ended up being the problem. Now, I couldn't determine the correct board for this system, so I called the experts in, had them take a look at it, and they were stumped for a little bit also. They put the board in. They looked at all the things I looked at, took all the measurements that I did, and determined it to be the board also. So after replacing the board, got another error code, and the system didn't work. So he pulled out the igniter and put it in, and still got nothing. Still got no flame. But we were getting further along. We were getting further along in the process, because the gas was turning on, and we were getting some sounds in the igniter. It just wasn't igniting. So we took measurements. He took measurements across the igniter again. We looked at the board again. The board seemed to be working correctly. So he was stumped. He took the board off and put the board back on, and he had forgotten to put one wire on. That one wire was the igniter. So we, at that point, the inducer motor was turning on. We were getting correct voltage on everything, and finally the igniter turned on and we got flame. So long story short, the problem ended up being this board, and it was one of these, we don't know which one. We couldn't find which one. It would be too hard to track it down, but it was much easier for him to get a board. I was going to have to order it, and it was going to take days to get it. He knew exactly where to get it, and if it was the wrong board, he could get another one. I wasn't capable of doing that, because you cannot return electronics. So I bought 3 boards to see which one fit, because I didn't know exactly which one it was. You know, I would have been able to return those other ones, but because he's in the business, you know, he's able to determine the correct board and get the correct board on there. So after going through this whole system here, it ended up being the board, and that's what I thought. Now remember, if you remember, I soldered this board. These were all broken, and I did get the air conditioner working and got everything working except the igniter. So not only was these broken, but there's one of these other solder joints was bad also, causing it to not get a flame. So all in all, it was very, very reasonable. This company charged me $78 to come out and do a service run, and they charged me $115 for this new board. I'll show you the board. See if I can get some better light over here. Maybe. That's just throwing shadows, I think. Maybe that'll help. Okay. So get a look at the new board there. Got a few improvements. It is the direct replacement board, but I think it does have a few improvements on the board for better starts. And so let's see if we can we're going to be recording on the GoPro. Start you on the GoPro. This is what the Google Nest looks like. It says the living room set to 67. We're gonna take it on up, call for heat, and you'll be able to see the screen go orange. You hear the relays start. The inducing motor starts. You should hear a click. When I hear the gas kick in. And now it's cleaning out the system, clearing out any potentially harmful gases. See the flame stick, the rail come on. There you go. It's a really good flame. You don't see much yellow. Very good flame. Drawing good. It's got a good draft. Blower motor turns on. It heats up the system before the blower motor comes on. That way you don't get any cold air that blows into your house. So now the blower motor comes on. Everything's already heated up, so you instantly get the heat. That's the correct process for a gas furnace. That's how a gas furnace should run. Oh, again, this was the bad part. Turn the nest down. Tell it we've had enough heat. The flame goes out, the blower motor continues to run, and that squeezes out every little bit of heat that is in the system, puts it into the house. All that heat out. right, so we're back to running, and I hope that we've covered some questions that you've had about your gas furnace. We practically went over all the systems, so I hope that somewhere along the way you've gotten some information that you can use in your situation. So they may do it another way, but that's the way I do it. We'll see you next time.